Hansel and Gretel, by the Brothers Grimm, 1812.
Once upon a time, by a great forest lived a poor woodcutter with his wife and his 2 children. The boy was Hansel and the girl Gretel. Hunger plagued the land, and the father groaned. "How can we feed our poor children when we have nothing for ourselves?" His wife whispered, "Tomorrow we will take the children deep into the forest, leave them there, and be rid of them." The woodcutter said, "No, wife, I cannot leave them. Wild animals would tear them apart." But she gave him no peace until he consented. Still, he felt sorry for the children. Hansel and Gretel, awake from hunger, overheard everything. Gretel wept, but Hansel comforted her. "Do not cry. I will find a way to save us." When the parents slept, Hansel slipped outside. The moon shone brightly, and white pebbles glittered like silver. He filled his pockets and returned to bed. At dawn, the stepmother woke them. "Up, you sluggards! We go to fetch wood." She gave each a piece of bread. Hansel kept his in his pocket beside the pebbles. As they walked into the forest, Hansel kept turning back. His father asked, "Why do you linger?" Hansel said, "I see my little white cat sitting on the roof." The stepmother scolded him. "Fool, that is the morning sun on the chimney." But Hansel had been dropping pebbles, one by one, along the path. Deep in the woods, the father lit a fire. "Rest here, children, while we cut wood. We will return for you." Hansel and Gretel sat by the flames and ate their bread. They heard the sound of chopping, but it was only a branch tied to a tree, swaying in the wind. Soon they fell asleep. When they awoke, it was dark. Gretel cried, but Hansel said, "Wait for the moon, then we shall see." As the moon rose, the pebbles shone like silver coins, guiding them home. They walked all night and reached their father's house at dawn. The father rejoiced, though the stepmother scolded them cruelly. Soon famine struck again. At night, the stepmother whispered, "We have only half a loaf left. Tomorrow the children must go deeper into the forest." The father protested, but she forced him to agree. Hansel wanted more pebbles, but the door was locked. He comforted Gretel. "God will not forsake us." At dawn, they were given even smaller pieces of bread. Hansel crumbled his and dropped the crumbs along the path. "Why do you keep looking back?" his father asked. "A little pigeon sits on the roof and wants to say goodbye," Hansel said. The stepmother laughed. "Fool, that is only the sun on the chimney." The woman led them deeper than ever. Again, a fire was made, and she said, "Sit here until we return." At noon, Gretel shared her bread with Hansel, for he had scattered his on the path. That night they waited for the moon, but the crumbs were gone, eaten by the birds. They wandered all night and all the next day, with only a few berries to eat. Exhausted, they lay beneath a tree and slept. For 3 mornings they strayed deeper into the forest. At midday, they saw a white bird singing sweetly. They followed it until they reached a little house. The house was built of bread, roofed with cake, and had windows of sugar. "We shall eat well," said Hansel. He broke off a piece of roof, while Gretel nibbled at a sugar pane. Then a voice cried, "Nibble, nibble, gnaw! Who is nibbling at my little house?" The children answered, "The wind, the wind." They kept eating until the door opened. An old woman on crutches crept out. Hansel and Gretel dropped their food in fright, but she smiled sweetly. "Dear children, who has brought you here? Come inside, and no harm shall happen to you." She took their hands and led them in. Inside, she gave them milk, pancakes, sugar, apples, and nuts. 2 pretty little beds awaited them, covered in clean white linen. Hansel and Gretel lay down, thinking they were in heaven. But the old woman was a wicked witch, who built the house to lure children so she could eat them. At dawn, she seized Hansel, locked him in a little stable, and forced Gretel to cook. "Feed your brother well. When he is fat, I will eat him." Gretel wept bitterly but obeyed. Hansel, however, fooled the witch by holding out a little bone instead of his finger when she checked his weight. Weeks passed, and Hansel stayed thin. Impatient, the witch shouted, "Gretel, fetch water. Fat or lean, tomorrow I will kill him." Poor Gretel cried, but the witch forced her to prepare the oven. "We will bake first. Creep in and see if it is hot enough." But Gretel suspected her plan. "I don't know how to get in," Gretel said. "Silly goose, the door is big enough," snapped the witch. She poked her head in to show her. Quickly, Gretel shoved her inside, slammed the iron door, and bolted it. The witch howled terribly, but Gretel ran away. The wicked woman was burned to death. Gretel freed Hansel from the stable. They rejoiced, hugged, and danced with joy. In the witch's house they found chests of pearls and jewels. "These are better than pebbles," said Hansel, filling his pockets. Gretel filled her apron. "Now we must find our way home," said Hansel, and they set off. After 2 hours they reached a wide water. "We cannot cross," said Hansel, but a white duck swam nearby. Gretel called, little duck, Hansel and Gretel are waiting for thee. Take us across on thy back so white." The duck carried them one by one to the other side. They walked on and soon recognized the forest. At last they saw their father's house. They ran inside and embraced him. The man had not known one happy hour since leaving them in the forest. Their stepmother was dead. Gretel poured out jewels and Hansel scattered pearls. Together they lived in happiness. The end. You have listened to the story about Hansel and Gretel by the Brothers Grimm.
If you want more stories like this, like and subscribe.